You know that feeling when you've been fighting against something your whole life, and then one day you realize it wasn't your fault? There was a missing piece to the puzzle. For Kathleen, that moment came when she discovered she had ADHD. It explained the burnout and the overwhelm, and today she's not just managing it, she's thriving and helping others do the same. Welcome back. If you missed part 1 with Kathleen, please go and listen where she shares some of her journey and how cultural and parental expectations played a role and how and impacted her identity, and how she impacted her identity and she lost herself in the pursuit of what she was supposed to be, and then how she finally found a career that aligned with her true self. And today we're going to talk about something that added an even deeper layer to her story, and that is her ADHD diagnosis. So, Kathleen, thank you so much for being back with us. I would love for you to share a little bit more about how you came to getting a diagnosis and how you're now using everything that you've learned to support clients with neurodivergence through mindset shifts, body work, and creative tools like the Dopamine U, which I'm super excited for you to tell us all about.
Thank you, Megan. Again, thank you for having me to share my story, hoping that it resonates with at least one person. So I diagnosed myself with ADHD, I think back in 2020. So again, we're still in the middle of COVID. I just was talking to a friend and she sought a ADHD diagnosis, and we are very similar. So I decided, I did some self-research. I'm like, yeah, like this absolutely sounds like me. I can't start anything. I can't finish anything. I can't, I collect things. And like if I show you my craft drawer, like you will see crochet projects, sewing projects, model kits, puzzles, like things that I have bought, never started. Some of them I've never opened, but because I just follow the shiny object that interests me. And in media, a lot of, like in writing or in shows or movies, ADHD is kind of shown as they can't sit still, or they talk too fast, or they get distracted. Ha ha ha, I'm so random. Look, there's a squirrel over there. And that's just one example of it. ADHD was the formal testing. It's actually made for small little boys. So if you are not a small little boy, your results might be skewed. I went under these testings. I was 20, 26. No, 20, 26, mostly 20. Can't do, but, so I was in my mid-20s and I went to a neuropsychologist. A neuropsychologist, I like to explain it as they specialize in the software of the human brain, right? They can see, they have these testings where you can get that formal diagnosis of ADHD, autism, things like that are not as easily like you can tick off the boxes on a physical symptom checklist. I went there and the doctor was this elderly Caucasian man. Very sweet. I loved talking to him. And as we are talking, he says, yes, you definitely have ADHD. I can hear it. I can see it. Yes, absolutely. So did the test. I did 2 days worth of testing, computer stuff, brain scanning. I gave him my full history, which included me being depressed since I was 8, me having anxiety when I entered my college years. And now I think I have ADHD. I go back for my results, and then he plops the test results on the desk in front of me, and he says, you're just depressed. And I look at him, I'm like, sir, I have been depressed since I was 8. Like, what do you mean? Like, you told me that I have ADHD by talking with me. He's like, yeah, but the test doesn't lie. I had choice words, which I kept to myself, and I I don't even know where those papers are. I really don't know where those papers are. And I felt wronged. I felt betrayed. And I'm like, I'm going to show him that I have an ADHD diagnosis. So I saw another specialist who just said, you think you have ADHD? Here's some medication. That medication was not good for me because I am an impulse buyer if any, oh my gosh. So I impulse bought like 30 or 40 bottles of nail polish because for some reason I thought that I was going to use all of those 40 bottles of nail polish. And I bought cuticle oils, I bought these tools, and an hour later, after scrolling through these shopping sites, it's like I come out of a fog. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? So I called her and I said, I'm not taking this medication anymore because this is a symptom of ADHD, the impulsiveness. This did not help at all, made it worse. Tried another medication and so I do not, if I close my eyes, I do not see anything in my mind's eye. You tell me to picture a lake in a forest. It's like the words, I will repeat back the words. I see a lake in a forest, but I don't see it. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because the second medication that I tried, when I was going to sleep, I saw eyeballs, like big, like real people eyeballs everywhere. And it completely freaked me out. Next day, called the person. I'm like, I will not take these anymore. So back to the drawing board. That person said that she didn't feel comfortable prescribing me anything else. So I had to move on to a different person. And this person, she, again, accepted my self-diagnosis. So self-diagnosis is valid. And she said, I'm going to give you Adderall. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I will try it. Tried it. It gave me a dry mouth. I was super thirsty all the time. And that was pretty much it. It wasn't that pleasant. So at that point, I kind of gave up with being medicated and I like a routine medication. So I tried one more specialist. And as I was giving him my health history, again, as I'm talking to him, he says, you definitely have ADHD. Definitely. So I was giving him my medications, and one of them is called Fetzima. Nobody knows about this medication. Nobody. It was still under patent when I started taking it. It stopped being under patent, which means people can just make a generic form of it, I think 2 years ago in 2023. So he actually told me that he was part of the clinical trials for it, so he knows exactly what it does, and he recommended a PRN stimulant that was not Adderall. I believe it was one that you use for people that have narcolepsy, just to kind of perk me up. But he said, I think that you are very self-aware of where your struggles are. And I think that you would really benefit from coaching. And I'm like, what's an ADHD coach? I don't need an ADHD coach. I just want to figure it out on my own. And he's like, yes. And how has that been going for you? Which again, just kind of, I'm like, oh, okay. Like we're on like month 8 trying to find a solution. So I'm like, okay, I will try an ADHD coach. So I started working with Lindsay, and she was great. A lot of support, a lot of validation. One of the things that I did not realize was part of ADHD is called rejection sensitivity dysphoria. If someone comes up to me and says, Kathleen, I like your hair, I like your necklace, I like your nails, but you have something in your teeth. What am I going to think about the entire time I'm talking with this person? I'm going to think about the thing that's in my teeth. I'm going to say, oh my God, like why I'm such an idiot. Why did I come out here? Why didn't I look? Why didn't nobody tell me? She probably hates me. She probably thinks I'm slob. And it's just this overreaction to something very, very small. This physical, like my body is in danger. And that is part of ADHD. And then I also learned that we like the instant gratification. We are dopamine chasers. Dopamine is one of the happy hormones that our body produces, including serotonin, including oxytocin. And fun fact, my body actually does not produce enough serotonin. It doesn't keep it in the body. That explains on that level why I am functioning the way I am. However, my coach, she introduced this concept of the dopamine to me, and I thought it was great. So a dopamine is a list of things that make you happy, things that you like to do. So if you're down in the dumps, or if you got rejected, or if there's any negative feelings, a dopamine was a tool that you can use. And I've worked with a few clients that liked the idea, where you would have appetizers, you would have entrees, you would have beverages, and then you would have desserts. So an appetizer, what is an appetizer? It's something small. So something that takes about maybe 5 minutes to do, so you can listen to your favorite song. You can, if you have a pet, you can pet your cat. You can use a fidget toy if you have one for a few minutes. You could go stand outside, not even move. You can go stand outside if it's sunny outside, just for 5 minutes. Something that's easy that you could do even on your lowest of low days. And entrees is a little bit more involved. So something that I would say that takes maybe 20 minutes plus. Do a workout, cook a meal, go play a board game, go for a walk in nature. Something that will get you going. And beverages is exactly what it is. It's just, what are your favorite beverages? I had a client, she loved lemon water. I'm like, okay, put lemon water. That's fine. And then her other favorite drink was this triple hot chocolate thing from Starbucks. And those are her favorite drinks. And then finally we have desserts, which is luxury. Something that you do, it's a treat. Go get a massage. Go get a facial. Go buy that, I don't even know how much clothes are. Go buy that $50 top that you want, or that $50 bag that you really like. Something that you wouldn't do on a normal day. And for me, when I have these difficult days where I cannot muster up the motivation to do anything, I'll scroll through. I have it saved on my phone. I'll just scroll through it. I'm just like, I'm going to go pet my cat for a few minutes. I'm going to go put on my favorite song. On the other days, I'm like, maybe I'll go do yoga, or I'll go outside, or just breathe. Sometimes it's just box breathing. And that is okay, because if you have ADHD, you have to do, it's a lot of work to fit a square peg in a round hole. So we have to, instead of shaving the corners of the square and trying to make it fit into the hole, we have to go find where we fit. We have to find what works for us. And sometimes the neurotypical thing that's recommended, sometimes it doesn't work for us, and it doesn't. So, for example, again, when I was under the impression this was depression only, I started talk therapy, and was it nice to have somebody to talk to, a third party that is not related to my family or in my circle of friends at all? Yes, absolutely. But it got to the point where I just was getting comfortable about talking, and it wasn't working for me. But I tried to rationalize it. Well, I can talk about there was a time where I couldn't talk about my time in Cleveland without crying. So now I can. Does this mean I've healed from it? I can say yes now, because my body now accepts this story of mine. There are things that I've talked about with therapists that my body is still scary, and I'm not healed from that, because your body, again, during COVID, the body keeps score kind of brought trauma to the forefront, because there's that unique trauma that we have, especially my generation, with all these life-altering events and that happen every 2 or 3 years, and we're tired. But it brought trauma to the forefront, and now there's this awareness of healing work. There's this awareness to even somatic work, which is being in tune with your body. And I recently, when I say recently, I've been doing clinical EMDR for about a year, and I have had more success in this 1 year than I have in the past 9 years of traditional talk therapy.
I wanted to jump in and say something about that because that was also my experience. Like, talk therapy was not really moving me forward. And actually, sometimes for me, because I was talking about really hard traumatic things, I felt like I was almost leaving the therapist's office more worked up a little bit in my nervous system. Yes, I got to talk about it, but my life wasn't changing. And so it was creating just more trauma for me. And it was really the power of working with a coach who, it wasn't just about talking about it. It was about learning how it was being expressed in my body, learning tools and somatic work, and even going back and looking at these traumatic things from a different perspective, coming in as the private investigator or the news reporter and looking at like all the facts that were going on and how did that make me feel, and what did I need in those moments that I didn't get, and how can I be there for myself and have healing in those areas. So I'm so glad that you talked about that, because one of the things as I was listening to you talk about your ADHD, and I have children diagnosed with ADHD. I think I have, ADHD symptoms, but when I look at it, a lot of those symptoms go hand in hand with trauma and your nervous system, because when you have a lot of hard things, you don't want to spend time thinking, right? And so your brain is trying to protect you by moving you around and not sitting still, because when you sit still, that feels scary. It's quiet. And those things, could start to make you feel uncomfortable. And so your brain thinks that it's helping you, but in reality, it's allowing you to avoid things. And then that avoidance does not allow you to get to the root cause. And I love that that's what the coach was helping you to do, is like get to root causes, and also like, let's give you some tools to help you manage these things so that you can feel better, because that's the only way you can do the work. It's like you do the work, you got to get new tools because you're going deeper, which requires a new level of tools. So thank you for sharing that. And how do you think all of this experience between, in the first part of the podcast, we were talking about like the expectations and all of those things that played in to getting this diagnosis and finding yourself and what makes you feel good in your profession now has you as a nurse coach, right? You're a nurse coach, and you're helping clients make some of these same transitions in their own life. Tell me about how you feel like the experiences has kind of brought you to this place and equips you to walk with clients on similar journeys.
Thinking about where I started, honestly having no identity, just kind of doing what I was being told and letting that define me. I'm from that, and I moved into a place where I had freedom to discover, what am I good at? What gives me confidence? And once I figured out what I am good at, I was able to then shift that focus to what brings me joy. And like I mentioned before, one of the things about ADHD is we are dopamine chasers. We want the happiness. We want it now. And part of it is kind of working with that, right? And discovering what brings me joy consistently. Watching someone be doubtful and be in a space where, similar to me, where I was and kind of not sure, and not being allowed to, or not having that safe space to explore. A lot of the people that I work with, sometimes we don't even start actually doing anything because there's a lot going on and they need a safe space. So one of the first things that I like to establish is making sure they know that I am a safe space for them. They can do whatever, they can curse, they can say this, they can say that about whoever or Jenny over there. Like, it's all confidential. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just here to listen. I'm here to give them what they need. And if it's that space to let it all out. I had someone, he talked about how he hated his job for an hour and 7 minutes. So a lot of pain over there, but he needed that space. And then I like to kind of transition them into the coaching space by doing some somatic work, by having them just take some grounding breaths and just notice, what are they feeling in their body? Is there tension? Is there any openness? A lot of people say, I feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders. My shoulders are tight. And when we move, if we do breath work during that session, if that feels good for them, afterwards they'll say, I feel so relaxed. My heart is open. I don't feel tightness in my belly anymore. They are at ease. And slowly we'll start asking the big questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are you doing? In future Megan's perfect day, what does that look like? What does she want to be doing? What is she wearing? What is she eating? What is she doing? Just starting to ask those deep inner questions, because like you mentioned, it's almost as if we don't want to touch it and we're afraid to do it. There's this simultaneous fear of being seen. There's this fear of being judged, being criticized by your partner, your parents, strangers on the internet who will say, oh, you suck, you're not good at what you're doing. And that fear keeps us in place. And as I'm sure you know, our job as coaches is to establish that safe space and kind of stretch it out just a little bit so there is room for growth, because in our comfort zone, nothing grows there. And it's like, I don't want to pull them in here and pull them there to the point where, like, well, I don't want to do this work. It's hard. And is it hard? And I like to be real with them. Is it hard? Yes, I am doing the work the same as you are doing it. And slow is fast. I wanted to be healed from my trauma 7 years ago. And I have made more progress doing the work that feels good to me, the somatic work, EMD, being a client of clinical EMDR. I've done more processing and healing in this past year than I have in the past 9 years of doing traditional talk therapy. And a nurse coach, shout out to Tiffany Human, she was the one who introduced me to somatic work. I had 2, maybe 3 sessions with her, absolutely changed my life. And she made me realize that this is work that I can do. This is work that I can share with someone, anybody that wants to do that dirty, gritty, hard work. I will be right there with them, because are you expected to do the work? Yes. You have to put the effort in. We cannot just give you the tools and then you complain about the results that you didn't get because of the work that you did not do. The client only succeeds when they put in the work, and we need to meet them where they are, whether they're in a space where they need to build safety and trust, whether they're in that space of, I think I'm going to do it, or I am doing it, and then just supporting them through it. And it's a way that feels good to you. Again, following that dopamine, that instant gratification. How do you make it last? How do we do that? I think that's just the main question that everybody's asking. How do we be happy consistently?
Well, what I love is how you highlight there are many different tools out there. And if you're doing something and you're doing it for a period of time, and 9 years is a long time to like give it a chance to work, maybe don't wait that long, right? I know for me, I was like, I should have tried some new tools, new skills, or new different ways of healing before I did. But I didn't know. And so we're here just helping people to understand there are so many options out there to bring about healing. And healing isn't a one size fits all, just like medicine. It's just not a one size fits all. As you saw when you were trying all of those different medications, finding the one that actually works for you and gives the positive results without the negative ones, that you're wanting to avoid. So I thank you for just kind of walking us through that. Love Tiffany. She's just such an amazing coach, and she did a great podcast with me before and led us through a somatic exercise. And I think you're going to, as part of our closing, lead us through a somatic exercise that you do sometimes with your clients. Does that feel okay?
Absolutely. Yes, I'm happy to do that. So I just invite everyone, is to gently close your eyes or have a downward gaze. You can remain seated, standing, wherever you are. Just make sure you have enough room to raise your arms up wide and to the floor. This is a very gentle way of noticing your body and giving thanks for things that you don't see or that you do not pay attention to or give thought to every day, because there's just so much going on. I just invite everybody to take a deep breath in through your nose. Follow that breath down to that deep belly space. Feel your belly expand. Ribs are opening. And just hold that breath there for a few moments. There's power in this sacred space between your inhale and your exhale. And then when you're ready, you can exhale through your mouth. You can sigh it out. And each breath we do, just be mindful, follow it as we go through our little exercise today. And I'll invite you to raise your arms up, palms facing up, and notice what resources are there. Sun, moon, stars, God, goddess, universe, source, spirit, whatever divine energy calls out to you there. Just notice that it is there. It is here for you. You may not see it, but it works in mysterious ways. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Follow that breath down to your belly. Hold it for a moment. Give thanks. And sigh it out through your mouth. When you're ready, you can bring your hands, palms facing the ground. Perhaps your feet are touching the floor. And just take note of what is there. This is grounding energy, Mother Earth, ancestors, insects, the micro movers of our world. Little shifts that have big impacts. Just give thanks to what is here for you. And take a deep breath in. Pause. Give thanks. And let it out. When you're ready, just sit up and bring your arms out wide as if you are going to give somebody a big hug. Now, I like to use this. If you can see us on camera, you notice that our hands are off the screens. So I like to imagine that we are all connected in this spiritual circle. We are connected by what makes us human, our joy, laughter, our sorrow, our empathy. Whatever you believe makes you human. I see you here, and I know you see me too. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it. Give thanks. And breathe out. And finally, turn your attention inwards so you can place one hand on the opposite shoulder. You can place the other hand around your waist or on the other shoulder, as if you are giving yourself a hug. Self-hugs are valid. Sometimes you need to give yourself support if no one is there for you. But you know that you are always there for yourself at the end of each and every day. Now just turn inward. It might be hard, might not want to see what is here, but just notice what comes up. Memories, childhood, relationships you have, the love you share, inner wisdom, your intuition. I just ask that you honor yourself here, where you are at this moment in time. It was not a mistake that you are here today. The universe wanted you to be here with us in this sacred space, in this present moment with your body, your mind, your spirit. You are here. We are one. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold that breath here. Give thanks. Let it out. And just give yourself one last squeeze. Maybe a pat on the back. You're going to be okay wherever you are. We are here for you. And just bring your hands to either prayer position, or you can place your hands over your heart center. There is love here. There is safety here. Each breath that you take is important. It gives you life, energy, it gives you purpose. Give thanks to your breath. Give thanks to your body. Your mind, your spirit is always here for you. And if there's any day where you are having a hard time, you can always return to your breath and just notice. You can even say to yourself, I love myself. I'm proud of myself. Look how far I've come. And look where I'm going to go. I am not alone. I am safe with me. Just hold that in your heart, your hands. I am safe with me each day and every day. And so it is. And then when you're ready, you can just follow my voice out to our present space.
Thank you so much. I feel so relaxed. It's such a great way to end my day, and spending this time with you has been so wonderful. Kathleen, thank you for sharing your story and how it has gifted you to be in your purpose, and how you can now use all of those things that were hard to make a difference. Thank you for sharing the space with us. And if you're a listener and you identify with some of the things Kathleen was sharing, if you've ever felt like you weren't built for the system you were placed in, no, you're not alone. I think more often than not, we struggle with that as humans. And even if you don't have a diagnosis of ADHD or neurodivergence, you can probably identify with many of these feelings. Because we live in a world that's hard, like Kathleen was saying, with so much trauma in it. And so just giving yourself the space to explore what it is that you truly desire, who you truly are. You know, if you can't be there for yourself, then, you know, who really can be? And out of that, you're going to find so much joy and fulfillment. Kathleen's story is an inspiration and proof that rewriting your narrative is possible. If you know someone who's struggling, we would love for you to share this with them, because we want people to know they are not alone. And there will be information if you want to get in touch with Kathleen in the show notes, but she's here to support people wherever they're at, and allowing them to move forward and becoming their most authentic self. Thank you, Kathleen. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep choosing the life you are meant for.